Oh, right. This is the part where I had to really adjust his eyes because it was kind of bugging me, but I didn't know it at the time. Um, it's like, what was wrong with his face? But, you know, his his head was just probably broken at some point. Because when I was working on Donatello here, I did note I had this feeling where I felt like I missed a few steps um, to get like him looking correct, essentially. Like that's why adjusting the eyes was a task of its own. Like if I did that earlier, I wouldn't have to do it now. But because I skipped it, um, I had to redo it. And sometimes that's my problem as well. It's like something bugs me, but I don't know what it is, um, and that's I need to kind of learn what elements I don't like more accurately, so I can just go in there and quickly adjust. Here's me refining his muscles. Having them stand out uh, very well, because so much of his design, he has all these elements, right? He still needs to show some body feature. Uh, hmm. Yeah, I think I had to adjust a few more parts. Yeah, get them in the right places. Change the shape. Right. I mean, he's coming together now, um, but he's still kind of missing that junkish look to him. It's a bit too high tech, so I'll probably work on it later. Yeah, just getting his size of his bowl slash staff correct, or how large I kind of want it. Uh, no, I think it's cleaning up my workspace and adjusting his height some areas or size of some areas. Hmm. I definitely found myself trying to redo what I did with Mikey in some areas, right? Like I tried to focus on his headband to have the creases because that came out really nice, but because of his like goggles, it gets in the way. So um, it was quite hard to actually get those details to show. Yeah, here's another attempt of getting a goggle design I wanted. I think I spent most of the session uh, trying to get the goggle design I wanted. But yeah. Mm. I wish I could say this whole process was like quick and easy. Um, it's not really for me. Uh, I still have trouble coming up with ideas, designs that would make it more interesting. Um, but you know, that's just part of the process of me getting better, right? The more I do this, the better I'm gonna get, and I aim to do quite a lot from now on. I've seen a lot of people who've like done sets of characters in a month. I find that really admirable and impressive to be able to do that such a short period of time. But yeah, one step at a time. Because once Donnie's done, onto the next project, and we'll see what happens with that. But for now, let's enjoy uh, Donnie's process. Yeah, because this would be my first set of characters, right? My like collection. Quite excited. Gotta make sure it's really well done. Uh, I mean, there's always the excitement of, right, what's the next project, but I want to keep my head focused on this one part for now, and once it gets to that stage, I'll work on that. Who knows? Maybe I do Batman. Yeah, Batman, Catgirl. I mean, Batgirl. You know, Robin. But we'll see. We'll see. This part here where I'm kind of like figuring out how the goggles would function on his head, because I've seen a lot of cases where people will just make an object and put it onto the model, but not have like the functionality in consideration. So the object just makes it look good, but for me, it has to work as well. Not sure if it's a bad habit or good habit that I have. It is like to think of that. I don't know. Maybe someone could tell me. It's like, oh, you're overthinking it, but it makes the model a little bit more believable. I find, you know, like this piece here, right, with the microphone. Like I could just slot it on, but because I did the extra like groove, that's the extra little detail I can work on later. Uh, some people just slot it in, right? It's just a slot underneath, call it a day. But I like the fact that there's some breakage in the shape. Mm. This Velcro like strap thing might change that. Hmm. Yeah, it's really weird with Donnie's overall body shape, because I want things to stand out, but because of his like long limbs, it's pretty hard to get that look. Um, they almost like contradict each other, right? It's like, why is this so big when like it should be wrapping around tightly, you know? Because if he was naturally bulkier, then it would be easy, right? Because it's just like you just follow the curve and then just exaggerate a little bit. Whereas in Donnie's case, like you really want to thin everything out for him to look longer. Because at the moment he kind of does look a little bit stubby. Um, Maybe I do change his proportion a tiny bit later. Uh, mm, yeah, so extra features for his arm piece, his little arm gadget, and making sure they work. Here's me desperately trying to find detail in an object. Those goggles gave me a lot of headache. Should really clean up those leg pieces, but I think at this point I was just trying to like fill in empty blank spaces, really. Like some areas I just completely neglected and have to go back in and redo. Oh, I guess this is where I start working on his leg piece. I think I decided on like a cloth like garment. You know, tightly wrapped. It shows his definition of his lower leg. Mm, yeah. Trying to find some interest by like layering the straps differently. But it kind of didn't work, but almost almost worked. But just couldn't get the idea across. Yeah, some nice curvature. We just extend the shin guard a little bit. Because you know when he bends his ankles or he's running, we don't want the you know the piece itself to actually cause Donnie's discomfort, right? There's like I said before, some functionality to the design. I mean, you know, giving it all nice and sharp edges and stuff like that, but for Donna's design, maybe it just doesn't work right. So here's a little bit of a squarish, like probably like a metal, like sheet of metal, right? And he just puts it together and like welds it and puts the strap where he needs it. Cause Donnie's character is like he's portrayed as the kind of shy turtle, right? I wouldn't say not as confident, but he definitely like he's more reserved than the other three. You know, Leo's more the leader type. Obviously, button heads with Raphael, with his brutish personality, and then Michael is just having a good time. Where Donnie is kind of like he's almost the what's that saying? Sense of reason. The person, yeah. Trying to remember, like the voice of reason. I think that's the saying, right? But yeah. Oh, I didn't realize I had like three sets of goggles. Yeah, that's like shows the struggle I had designing it. But yeah. So rather than stick onto that, I move on to something I can work on. So with Donnie's bowl, right? I want to have like wraps in the middle, and each wrap kind of quite distinct. So here I just like separate them using the slice tool, separating them individually, and the idea is that I'm gonna inflate those pieces. There we go. See, it gives kind of like a unique like variation to design. Um, it's a bit too thick at the moment, so hopefully I can lower it down later. But it gives the overall shape, right? Because with the object being so small, it can work, and but I gotta make sure, yeah, it's a bit more consistent. But yeah, that's essentially me refining more areas and getting the pieces to be more distinct, right? So I'll move on. I'll call it there, and then I'll move on to the next step. So I'll catch you in the next episode.